Hey guys, welcome back to Hack It Out. We got another podcast for you. Got Derek here.
Yeah. It's been a while.
It has. It's been about 5 months since the last multi-person podcast.
Something like that. Yeah, we had Tynan on there that time, didn't we?
Yeah, it was our. I believe it was episode 21. Creepy experiences.
Yes, that was a fun one.
Had the fun,
enjoyed that one.
Fun little situation with that mini fridge.
Oh man, I forgot. Forgot about that. That's hilarious.
Yeah. So, we've had a few episodes since then that I was just kind of flying solo for. Derek was unable to be there. And I know I've talked to you about this, Derek. I'm not a big fan of doing the solo episodes. I know some people are like, well, we'd prefer an episode rather than no episode, but I just don't like it because I tend to ramble.
Well,
right. And I don't like feeling like I'm just talking to myself, basically. And it's much better whenever there's another person to play off of and talk off of.
It's hard to do a podcast with one person. I mean, maybe a video. But a podcast itself is like, well, now we're going on to something else I'm going to be talking about. So,
right. And now this is our first podcast in the new space. This is my new house. It's my new office. I've done a couple things in this office already, a couple movie reviews and a couple of gameplay videos. And, I've had some channel updates talking about this stuff, so I'm not going to bore you with that. But that's going to kind of lead us into our first topic for today, which is, what have we been up to lately since our last, multi-person podcast? And I'm going to let you go first because you haven't been here in a while.
Well, yeah, I haven't been here in a while. There hasn't been a whole lot that's happened. Really, the biggest thing that seemed like family-wise that I was doing, my oldest daughter, Layla, had softball season. It just seemed like it dragged on and on and on. And we're finally done with that. And they did pretty good for the season. And the other thing I can really think of, I got this book about, 2 years ago called The Fall of Giants. And I've been reading it ever since then, and I'm almost done with it finally.
2 years later.
2 years.
That's about like
Can
me.
you imagine? I mean, the book is about 900 pages, and I knew I shouldn't have got it, but I said, hey, I'll get it anyway.
Is it a fiction, nonfiction? What is it?
It's one of those where it's based on nonfiction. It's based on like real world events, but all fake characters, all fiction. So, but it's
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, if you're into the kind of historical war kind of stuff. It's not really war based, but it's set back in World War I. So a little bit, backstory of some certain things, but it's pretty interesting.
Okay.
And what about you, Patrick?
Well, for me, you guys already kind of know some of the stuff that I've been up to because, I've still been posting some things. I mean, I know I've had some breaks here and there too, but obviously I moved into the new house, finished up this semester of classes, with, I was taking some college courses still, trying to whittle that thing down. But most recently, just took a big family vacation, kind of the first one that my family has ever taken. I mean, it was full, family, dad, sisters, nieces, nephews, like the whole works. So we just got back from that earlier this week. So
how was that? Was it kind of hectic or?
It was hectic, but it was fun. It was pretty smooth. You can't have a family vacation without at least a little bit of drama. But it wasn't anything that really completely ruined the vacation or anything like that. I mean, I love my family, so it was great to have everybody together.
Yeah.
And I already missed seeing everybody. It was nice seeing everybody every day. So, but at the same time, my wife and I were kind of happy to get home and kind of get back to some quiet for a bit.
Yeah.
But really, that's basically all I've been up to.
Cool.
So
sounds like a lot of fun. We're actually getting ready to leave here next week to go on a little mini family vacation. Not the whole extended family, just us, but hopefully have a lot of fun.
Well, the next topic that we're going to cover today, Derek, what has been going on this week that we have to talk about?
Let me think. Well,
something big.
It's got to be. Is it political?
No.
Okay. Well, it's got to be.
Well, I'm sure there are things, but
I know
not that we're going to cover.
I know there's people that really get into heated discussions about this, but it's E3. That just happened.
E3 happened this week. Well, actually, it technically started on Saturday.
Did it? Okay. Yeah, that was the first day. I remember that. I read some stuff late that night about it. But.
I think this is the first time that we're covering it. I mean, I know we're not covering it live. We're not covering it, each day that it's happening, but this is pretty good because we're actually covering it. I mean, the same week that it happened.
Yeah, it's still fairly fresh.
We're kind of wrapping it up,
yeah.
Which I think is a first for us. I don't think we've done that.
The last time we talked about anything, it was probably something Apple related, and it was several weeks after the event.
Yeah.
At least several weeks.
We would like to be, one of those channels where we can talk about the stuff right then and there, but because of our jobs and our lives, we just can't do that right now. But we're pretty excited to be able to talk about this today. So I think, firstly, Derek, I'm not sure what all you've got, but I would just kind of like to go through the big three, Microsoft, Nintendo, and Sony, and just kind of talk about the games that stood out to us the most that they showed off during this week at E3. So do you want to talk about the games that stood out to you first, or do you want me to go first and you just kind of build off that? How do you want to do this?
I can talk about one or two at a time, then you can talk about a couple.
Okay.
I think one that stood out really to both of us, mainly because I've only got the Xbox One. I don't have all of the consoles, but it was the game Anthem.
Yeah.
It looks pretty interesting. Haven't read too much about it. I watched some of the videos. Looks pretty action packed. Really good visuals. Good soundtrack. Really looking forward to that one. As long as it's not a full on multiplayer, online multiplayer, because I get a bad vibe from those kind of games.
Yeah, I know you and I have talked about this. Yeah. Now Anthem. Now before we get on that. We're not going to go into deep discussions about every single game on this list because there are a few, and we're not even talking about every single game from E3 because that's a lot of games. So, but some of these we probably will touch on more than others. But Anthem is developed by BioWare, and more specifically, it's developed by basically their A team, the teams that did Mass Effect and Dragon Age, and you can definitely tell because the quality that has gone into just what little bit that we saw, you can tell this was developed by their star team.
And you can tell the star team may not have developed Andromeda.
No, they're not. And this is actually my biggest problem with Anthem. I want to like it, but I can't help but have a little bit of animosity towards it because I feel like it's almost like a middle finger to the Mass Effect fans from BioWare because it's like, hey, we took that all-star team that worked on Mass Effect, that beloved franchise that everybody, really loved, and rather than letting them work on the next part of Mass Effect, we put them in charge of just something new and gave Mass Effect, put it in the hands of these newbies, and look how it turned out. I mean, I haven't finished Andromeda. I know you haven't either.
I haven't either. It's not one of those games where I'm like, I have to play it. It's like, I'll just get to it when I get to it.
Yeah, I want to, but that's just why. I mean, we don't really know much about Anthem yet. We just saw a little trailer for it, and it looks great. It looks like it's going to play great. Just like you said, I hope it's not multiplayer only.
Yeah, that's why I never really got into Destiny. Made by Bungie. It's just I never wanted to just always be online playing other people, so I never got into that one either.
And it looks like they're kind of BioWare's answer to Destiny.
Yeah, I think that's probably what we're going to be seeing after a while. So
okay. You got another one, or you want me to go?
You go ahead.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll just stick with Microsoft for now, and then once we go through those, we'll jump to the next one. So my next game that stood out to me was another Dragon Ball Z game. It's called Dragon Ball Fighter Z.
I didn't see much about that one, but I remember reading a little bit.
Now, I don't know if it's pronounced that way or if it's pronounced Dragon Ball Fighters, because the way they've got the Z on the end. But, I really liked the Dragon Ball Xenoverse games. I've got 1 and 2 on the Xbox One. Now, I'm not good at them by any means, but I've always been a big fan of Dragon Ball Z, that whole series. And this one, it's nice because it looks like it's more of a side, well, not really a side scroller, but like a 2D, 3D fighting game, kind of like a Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat. And whereas Xenoverse isn't, it's more of like a spherical 3D fighting game, so it could be a little bit more chaotic.
Oh, okay.
This one looks a little bit more simplistic, and it really looks like the anime just put it right on the screen, so it looks pretty awesome.
Now, is this one Xbox only?
I'm honestly not 100% sure. I think it is for now, at least.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure they showcased it as part of their exclusive.
Okay, yeah, okay. I noticed there, unless it was just me, there wasn't a whole lot of exclusive Microsoft titles, unless they just didn't market them that way. They were just announcing games, but you can go ahead to the next one. I don't know anything about this one.
Okay. Well, I'll just kind of bundle up these next few. So they showed off a lot of indie games, and they also showed off just some games that we've kind of been teased for the last couple of E3s. Mm-hmm. Now, these are games that kind of take on more of an artistic approach, and some of these that caught my eye, there's The Last Night, Super Lucky's Tale, The Artful Escape, and Cuphead. Mm-hmm. The Last Night, it looks, to me, it made me think of that movie Blade Runner from the 80s, mm-hmm. But kind of like a pixelated format. It's kind of hard to describe. Super Lucky's Tale just looks like a Mario, Banjo-Kazooie type platformer, but it looks pretty fun. The Artful Escape.
I saw a little bit about that one.
That one you're just going to have to look up on your own because that one is really hard to describe.
Yeah,
it's just an artistic, it just looked like some guy with a guitar, mm-hmm. but it looked interesting.
Yeah.
And then Cuphead, we've been shown for a few years now.
Yeah.
It's basically in the style of like an old 1920s, 1930s cartoon.
Yeah.
Like old Disney, like Mickey Mouse, Steamboat Willie type cartoons. And that one looks pretty awesome.
Yeah, that one caught my eye a long time ago. And mm-hmm. I said, I think this would be a really, really interesting game because it's so much different than anything else you see out there.
Yeah.
And it seems like it might be really tough, too.
Yeah, I've heard it is. And I'm pretty sure the reason why that one's taken so long to come out is because it's in that animation style. Mm-hmm. I'm sure that has taken a long time to animate.
Because there's no graphics engine out there for that. Like all these other games, they can just take the graphics engine and just make a game around it. It hardly takes them any time at all.
Yeah. But those are pretty much all the games that that caught my eye out of the Microsoft conference.
Yeah, and I enjoyed. I mean, I've only got the Xbox One, so I don't plan on getting a PlayStation anytime soon, or maybe a Nintendo Switch at some point in the next 6 months or a year or so. But as far as the PlayStation, I probably won't even really mess with. But I did see a couple of the games. I remember one we have on this list, Shadow of the Colossus. That one came out on the PlayStation. Was it the 2 or 3? Okay, 2.
Yeah.
And I remembered, I talked to you one time about that because I saw it somewhere and I'm like, this looks kind of interesting.
Yeah, I've never played it though.
No, I haven't either. I looked up a video and I said, well, this looks kind of crazy and amazing. And your character, fighting giant beasts, I guess. But
I know people have really revered those games because there's 3 now, I think, by that company.
Okay.
There's Ico, Shadow of the Colossus, and then there's The Last Guardian that just came out on PS4.
Okay.
Now, they're not, as far as I know, they're not all like connected. They're not the same story or anything. Mm-hmm. They're just from the same developer, but kind of all in the same style. But I know a lot of people have really enjoyed them for their like how artistic they are, mm-hmm. and visually pleasing. And yeah, Shadow of the Colossus, I've never played it, and from what we were told, this is not a remaster. It's actually a full from the ground up remake of the PS2 version. So everything is completely redone. Kind of like, Final Fantasy VII is completely being remade. It's not just to add on some fancy, new shadings and stuff to remaster it. It's a full-blown remake.
Like what 343 Industries did with Halo, the original Halo. They just added a skin over it, basically the same game.
Yeah, no, it's a complete remake. And so that'll be, I might actually maybe give it a shot now because it's kind of hard to go back and play PS2 games now.
Yeah.
But this would be a good chance to try that one out.
It'd be a fun one to try out. Let's see. Now, this other one, this Detroit Become Human. I did see a little bit about that one. I didn't read too much of it. There's a lot of information in this E3. It seemed like. Yeah. And I did look pretty neat. Don't have a whole lot of info about it. Did you see a lot about this one?
Yeah, this one we've known about for a little while. Are you familiar with? It's made by a company called Quantic Dream. Have you heard of a PS3 game called Heavy Rain?
Yeah.
Okay, it's made by the people who made that.
Oh, okay.
So they made there was Indigo Prophecy on the PS2, Heavy Rain on PS3, and Beyond Two Souls on the PS3. And Heavy Rain I absolutely loved. Beyond Two Souls kind of fell flat for me. But this is their next one, and it looks awesome. It's just about, an android revolution, basically. And yeah, it's one of those. It's kind of like a choose your own sort of thing, choose your own path, like
gotcha.
with quick time events, that sort of thing, like almost like you're playing like an interactive movie in a way. Like choices, like you're playing the game, but choices might come at you. You can choose one path or the other. You can do one thing or the other that's affect the outcome of a game.
That's how like Heavy Rain was.
Exactly.
I have played that one.
I love that game.
Yeah, good game. Really good game.
So I'm hoping this one will live up to Heavy Rain in the sense that Beyond Two Souls did not. But at the same time, Heavy Rain was so good. I'm not sure if anything can live up to the high standard I set that one at.
Maybe not.
Another one that caught my eye is called Hidden Agenda. Now, this was part of Sony talked about this new thing that they're doing called PlayLink. It's basically just an interactive way of using your smartphones to kind of play some games together. Like there's some party games that you can interact with each other using like an app on your smartphone. And this one, have you heard of a game on the PS4 called Until Dawn? Do you know what it is?
A little bit, yeah.
It's kind of like a survival game in a way, but in a way it's kind of like the Heavy Rain in the sense that you have choices you have to make, quick time events. Well, this is made by the people who made that, but this one, friends and stuff can play with you using this app on PlayLink, and it basically Hidden Agenda. There's like the serial killer that's on the loose, and I guess you're like this cop, but then your friends and stuff can have all these like case files or different information that you don't have, and they can vote on the choices that you make in the game, like from their phones. So it's like you all are kind of playing the game together. So
that's cool.
Yeah, this seems interesting. I'm not a fan of trying to integrate mobile apps with games. So
I'm not completely sold on it because GTA has something like that too.
Yeah.
It's I want to say wonky, but it's kind of hard to use.
Yeah, I mean, but for something like this, it seems like it might be cool, maybe like a one-off thing, but I just hope they don't try to integrate that into too many things.
Yeah.
Now, I've only got one other game for Sony. Derek, do you have anything else? Or do you have the same game
I think basically the same one. I mean, there was maybe one other one that, I mean, I remember there's a lot of people that are a fan of God of War.
Oh, yeah,
I've played a couple of them, and they're unique in the sense that there's nothing just exactly like it. I watched a video of this one. I think it's got the main character's son. Apologize, I can't think of his name all of a sudden.
Kratos?
Yes, and his son, I guess, is in the game as well. And it looks really, like, almost, I wouldn't say amazing. It really, some of the best graphics I've seen on the PlayStation 4. That one looks pretty neat.
Yeah, I've never played any of the God of War games. It was a series I never got into.
Yeah, I've played one, not number one, but I've played one of the games. I can't remember which one it is, but it was a fun game. I had a lot of fun playing it.
Well, yeah, the last game I've got to talk about is Spider-Man. This was showcased. I don't know if last year was the first E3 or the year before, but essentially this looks kind of like the Batman, like Arkham Asylum, Arkham City by Rocksteady, but just with Spider-Man. So it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. It really does. It's obviously PlayStation exclusive, but they showed off a lot of gameplay. Well, one gameplay trailer for it that was like 7 minutes or something like that, and it looks awesome. It looks like a lot of fun.
The scope of it is huge. It seems like he can. I didn't watch I guess the whole video, but I did watch at least half of it before I had something else I had to take care of at the house.
Yeah,
but the creativeness that they've come up with the Spider-Man, the attacks he can do is really interesting. That what they've come up with. And even like the voice of Spider-Man, he very, very good vocals.
Yeah, I mean, he's got that. He's got that like charisma and that humor, just that perfect delivery. Yeah. Just like the voice of Batman as well in those games. But anyway, so that concludes the Sony portion, and now we'll move along to Nintendo. I'm just going to kind of quickly move through these to get to the main event of the Nintendo section. So people have been really clamoring for this series to return, and that is Metroid. We haven't seen Metroid in a long time from Nintendo, and they've announced not one but two Metroid games. Metroid Prime 4 coming to the Switch. We didn't get to see any footage from it. They just announced that it's in development. And then Metroid Samus Returns for the Nintendo 3DS. Now, this is a complete reimagining of, I believe, is Metroid 2, The Return of Samus on the Game Boy. This is basically just a remake of it. I think they used the word reimagining or reimagination of it. But we did see gameplay of that. That's coming out soon. I believe that comes out this year, actually. And that looks like a lot of fun. I know that really pleased a lot of Metroid fans that we're getting 2 of those. And then they finally confirmed that they are in development for a main core Pokemon game on the Nintendo Switch. That's what people have been really wanting since the Switch was first announced. Well, really longer than that. People have been wanting like a console Pokemon game for years.
Years and years, yeah.
And now that we have a console handheld hybrid, it seemed like a no-brainer. And when the Pokemon Direct came and went, a couple of weeks ago, people were very disappointed that this wasn't announced. But now they confirmed that it's in development. They said it could still be a year or more before it's out, but at least they let us know it's in development.
That's cool.
And then we did finally get to see Kirby is also making a return to the Nintendo Switch. We got to see just a little bit of footage of that. He's not coming out till next year, but it looks like a kind of classic side-scrolling Kirby with multiplayer capabilities.
Yeah, Kirby was always a favorite of mine when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Game Boy.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, one of my favorites.
So, Derek, why don't you lead us into the big event for the Nintendo Switch
The
E3
big event
this year.
is Mario and Rabbids. I'm just kidding. It is Super Mario Odyssey.
Yes.
Which is the game that I have been waiting for since 1996.
Yeah, basically.
Really, I have.
Yes.
The Mario game I've been waiting for since
Because
1996.
most people say they've been waiting for it for 15 years, since 2002. That's when Mario Sunshine came out. I never really got into Super Mario Sunshine, though.
Me neither.
But the reason why they say that is because this is the first sandbox-style open-world Mario since Mario Sunshine. The Mario Galaxy games were... they were close, but they were starting to kind of move into that linear, kind of closed off. They weren't really the sandbox style like Mario 64 and Sunshine.
And they just made me dizzy playing.
They were
Galaxy.
great games, though. Galaxy 1 was amazing.
Yeah.
Galaxy 2 is not my favorite. There's parts of it that I liked, but Galaxy 1 was great. But Mario Odyssey just looks phenomenal. We've got to see so much gameplay this week from it. And just what they're doing with it, all the surprises that they gave us with the new moves, the thing you can do with the hat.
The dinosaur.
I'm not going to go into all the details of it. You guys just need to go watch the trailer yourselves, go watch all the footage. But now's the time to start. If you don't have a Switch, now's the time to start preparing for it, because this comes out October 27th this year. So
is it a Switch exclusive, or are they going to release it on the Wii U as well?
it is Switch exclusive.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Wii U's done.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I thought they were still going to be making some games for the Wii U, but they said no.
No, it's
Okay.
done. I mean, there might still be some like eShop things that I think come out, but the Wii U production is done.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
And then the only other game that I know, we've got 2 games to talk about from Ubisoft, which had a great press conference. I think they blew everybody away. I was going to talk about real quick the Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle, which is kind of a big deal because this is the first time that there's essentially a Mario. Well, not really the first time, but Mario or Nintendo has teamed up with Ubisoft to create this new, completely different game, Mario game. It's a tactical adventure game featuring the Rabbids and kind of in the style of like a Fire Emblem type thing, turn-based. It looks like a lot of fun.
I don't know if I'll get much into that one, but I remember the Rabbids from were they Rayman? They were from Rayman, right? Okay, yeah. Ubisoft made Rayman. And then another Ubisoft game. I was a fan of a couple of these games, the Assassin's Creed series. They kind of went off and they've been making one, or seems like almost 2 every year since 2007.
There's been a lot of them.
There have been. The
And
only
a bad
one,
movie.
Yeah, I never watched the movie. And
Me neither. I just heard it's bad.
I didn't think I was missing much.
Yeah.
But yeah, number 1 was really good. It was okay. Number 3 was the best one, I think, in my opinion, so far. They made so many other ones. They went off in this whole pirate thing with pirate themed game, and it was just horrible. It's like, why would you even want to play this? It was the worst game ever.
Is that Black Flag?
Yeah. I think they actually called it number 4, like Assassin's Creed 4. Mm-hmm. And they had a little bit of that in number 3, the whole ship warfare kind of thing, and it was a joke. And this one's set a lot further back in time, like Egyptians.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing a trailer or teaser for that.
It seems like it might be a game that I might have to try out. So we'll keep an eye out for that one.
Now, that's not an Xbox exclusive, right?
No, that's just that'll be on. I don't know if it's gonna be on the Switch, but it'll definitely be on PlayStation and the Xbox One and Xbox One X.
Speaking of, Derek just let the cat out of the bag. He's jumping the gun here. Our next topic, I'm going to go ahead and let him lead into it. So we're done talking about games. There was a big reveal at this E3, Derek, and since you've already let it go,
I didn't mean to. Sorry.
Well, it's perfect segue.
But
perfect segue.
Yes, so I hinted that at the Xbox One X is what Microsoft's big thing that they announced was, and this is essentially a whole new console. It's still an Xbox One. It's a lot smaller form factor. Mm-hmm. Price wise, it's going to start out what the original Xbox One started at. If I'm right, $499.
Was it $499?
I think so, $499.
I didn't get one when it first came out, so I'm not sure.
It took me a couple of years until I decided to get one. This will be coming out in November. Mm-hmm. Good timing. The big push with this one, that the biggest thing I think they've advertised is the 4K.
True 4K.
True 4K.
They're really bashing Sony on that.
And they really are.
That's their jab at Sony.
I mean, if you watch the keynote, I guess you call it a keynote with Microsoft, that was like the first thing it said, 4K real big on the screen.
Yeah, like true power.
True power. And I was like, that's quite a jab right there. You know? And for me, I don't have a 4K TV. I don't plan on buying a 4K TV anytime soon. So I don't think I'm going to jump out and just get rid of the Xbox One that I just got and buy this. But for someone who maybe has never had an Xbox One or has been on the fence about it for a long time, there's pretty much no brainer. Just go for the gold, get the biggest one. I mean, as far as performance wise, it's going to be a lot more powerful than the original Xbox One.
Did you watch the whole thing? So, Derek, what they said was you don't have to have a 4K TV because
so what's it going to do then?
There are games that they announced some of their own, Microsoft titles, but also other third-party titles that all they have to do is push out an update to their games, and their games will actually look better on your 1080p TV.
Really?
Even playing on that Xbox One X on your 1080p.
If I didn't have an Xbox One now,
right,
then I would I'll just go buy it. But the 1080p looks good. I've looked at a 4K TV and I'm like, nah, it's good, but it's not worth the extra money.
But that is really cool, though, that they can do that. That you don't have to. I mean, obviously, the 4K TV is going to be where it's going to look the best.
Oh, yeah.
But that is neat that if they have the capabilities of making it look like you'll be able to notice a difference even just on your standard 1080p TV.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So take us through these crazy specs, Derek.
So we're going to start with some of the, like you said, the crazy specs. So we've got 8-core processor at 2.3 gigahertz. So I don't have the specs here of the original Xbox One, but I don't think it's anywhere close to that.
Yeah.
We got 6 teraflops of graphics performance,
which is a lot.
I mean, that's
comparison.
That's a lot of flops. Mm-hmm. And 12 gigs of GDDR5 RAM, which that's a lot. I mean, that's a lot of RAM for any machine, especially when you talk about a gaming computer that they might have 16 gigs. But it has to do all the other tasks of a computer as well, not just play games.
Right.
So that's pretty amazing.
Going back to that 6 teraflops, just in case any of you know what all that stuff is, the PS4 Pro only has 4.2, and so this really is the most powerful. And just to kind of show you, the jump from PS4 to PS4 Pro was 1.84 to 4.2, but the jump from Xbox One, it was actually lower than PS4 at 1.31, and then going all the way up to 6. So it had a really huge jump compared to the PS4 to PS4 Pro.
Yeah.
So that's pretty awesome.
Pretty amazing.
And then, like you said, the 12 gigs of GDDR5 RAM, the other Xbox Ones and PS4, PS4 Pros, they've only got 8 gig.
8.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty big jump, really.
Yeah.
I mean, 50% jump, practically. So
That's crazy.
and then obviously we got true 4K. That's the biggest thing that they were talking about. And one thing that is really interesting is the fully backwards compatible with Xbox, all the Xbox One accessories and actually old Xbox games.
Yes.
So
OG Xbox.
I think the only original Xbox game, I think I have 2 left, Halo and Halo 2. That's all I've got left. Well,
Yeah.
no, I may have one Splinter Cell game, but most of them I've either lost or sold at some point because I just haven't played in so long.
And that's going to be, I believe they said this fall or this holiday that's going to be rolling out, and that'll be to the whole Xbox One family, not just the X. And that'll be pretty awesome because that means that the Xbox One will be I mean, obviously it's not going to be backwards compatible with every single game from the library, but it'll be backwards compatible with everything from its family, like each member of its family. The PS4 is not backwards compatible with PS3, PS2, PS1. You know,
I would say popular games, it's pretty important. I mean, there's certain ones that maybe they're still a great game and your machine's not working quite right. So
right.
that'll be a neat thing. So, okay. Who would you say won E3 this year?
Well, for me personally, it's really hard to say because with Nintendo, you know, they had the Metroid and the Pokemon on the Switch. They had those announcements, and of course they've got Super Mario Odyssey. But you know, Microsoft, they announced the Xbox One X, loads of game trailers, the original Xbox backwards compatibility. But for me, I think in terms of sheer surprise, I would have to say Nintendo, just because people weren't expecting this Metroid revival, or they really thought that the hope of Pokemon Switch was gone. And even just some of the surprises from Mario Odyssey that we got to see, I thought were great. But if I have to give a winner overall, just in terms of the amount of games, the quality of everything, just the knocking your socks off, I got to give it to Microsoft.
I agree. It seemed like they had the most. They had the most stuff that they announced, the biggest announcements. And I feel like Sony itself, they kind of went the easy route. They kind of just went. They played it like they have. Everything was very expected. Like, okay, I knew about this, I knew about that. We've known about Spider-Man for a long time.
Yeah.
A lot of these other games. I like the game selection, but I like what you said about Nintendo. A lot of things that I think nobody was expecting announcements, and that's pretty neat that they did something like that. So,
and just to say, like, I was just comparing the big three: Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft. I mean, I know everybody's been impressed with Ubisoft and their conference. I didn't watch the whole thing, but what I did watch, I was impressed as well. So I know they did a great job. I really got to hand it to all of them, Sony, everybody. They did a great job at this E3. I think this is one of the best E3s in a while.
We've had some pretty boring E3s the last few years, honestly.
And we've had a lot of good games. I mean, even games that we already knew were coming, games that weren't just sheer surprise announcements, were just awesome because we got awesome trailers and just more details. And it was a great E3. It was a great week.
Overall, I enjoyed every part of it. So.
Yeah, it was awesome. Well, that's pretty much going to conclude this episode. So, I really appreciate you guys tuning in, being patient with us. And this is that part of the show where we got to give our shout outs to our patrons. Derek, I don't know if you know, but we not only have one, but we have two patrons now.
We have two now. Awesome.
We have two now. So we are going to thank Bryce and Anna for being our patrons. And Anna is also a Patreon sponsor. So thank you to Anna for being a sponsor. So anyway, if you guys are interested in becoming a Patreon sponsor or just becoming a patron on Patreon in general, go ahead and check out our Patreon. We'll put the links down below. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Comment down below. Let us know how we're doing. Let us know your thoughts on E3, who you think won, and what your favorite games were. And, let Derek know that you want to see him on here more often.
Yeah, I'll be back sooner than later, definitely. So,
all right. Well, we'll see you guys later.
Thanks, guys.